What's going on, y'all? It's your boy JP the Third. You already know. We back in direct with another interview. Got my man Ryan from the 2 Percenters. What's going on, y'all? Appreciate you coming out. So just in case you haven't heard of the 2 Percenters, I'm gonna give Ryan the floor so he can introduce himself, let you know about the movement and just the brand that he's building.
Awesome, man. Well, first and foremost, man, I want to appreciate you, brother. You know what I'm saying? All praises and honor is to God, you know what I'm saying, for us to be here, to be able to speak. So, you know, the 2 Percenters, I know that's a weird name, and a lot of people ask me, you know, what does it mean? So just to kind of give you guys what our mission statement is. So for one, I have an identical twin brother. So it's two of us. So that's part of what the 2 is. But the 2 Percenters, so there's only 2% of people in the world who really achieve their goals and dreams and achieve true wealth. And the other 98% are average and ordinary. So what we trying to do is we're trying to promote the mindset it takes to get in that top 2% of the world. And so that's the mindset of winning, and that's what I like to call that, you know. And so how do you break out of the average class of people, the average crowd, and get to the elite crowd? Well, it's just a simple mindset shift. That's all it is. And so that's what we like to showcase in the stuff that we do every day. You know, so a lot of times I go live on social media, and you know, you might see me, you know, filming myself or recording myself in the trenches grinding. You know, I like to showcase the grind because I like to show y'all that it's real, and there are struggles. I say that a lot because, you know, we could talk about all these great things, but what I want you guys also to know is that it's okay to struggle, it's okay to fail, you know what I'm saying, because that's how you learn, you know. And so we just want to showcase ourselves all the way to the top, so you guys know that, you know, it's all real, and there's humble beginnings, and you got to start somewhere. And it's tough, but it can be done, man. So that's kind of like what our brand is based off of. You know, if that answer your question, JP?
Yeah, 100%, definitely. And I mean, obviously people know just based off the brand that I represent that I'm associated with certain kind of people. So I mean, I'm sure that coming into this video they saw, you know, they had some type of, what's the word I'm looking for? They had some type of, just like a hunch, you know, like, oh, okay, this guy probably is about his business, you know. You know, I don't keep just any kind of I can't even talk. I don't even keep, you know, just any kind of regular company. You know, I try to make sure that the people I'm around have the same vision, have that same mission, or something even bigger. And I mean, when you see the big beard, you know, you got to think big business, right?
Yeah, big business.
All of that. So I mean, I'm definitely grateful for that explanation you gave about the 2 Percenters, and it's obvious right off the bat that your mindset is different. So I mean, what was it that kind of woke you up to, you know, the 98 and the 2% so early on?
Man, that's an awesome question, man. So just to tell y'all a little short story. A lot of my life events. I can kind of give y'all a real good example. So I used to be an athlete. I used to run track and field, you know, and I also, you know, rest in peace, I also lost my father like 4 years ago. So really just by losing him, you know, it made me want to step my game up even more and really just start studying life and how it works. But just to give y'all an example, so I used to run the hurdles. I ran college track for Tennessee State University. Shout out to the Big Blue Tigers. But before I got there, because I went on a full scholarship, but I didn't start running track until my sophomore year in high school. So I didn't start my freshman year. I started my sophomore year, so I was already a year behind. And so I also was on the basketball team too, and I started one game my whole high school career, and that was on senior night, my last year.
Oh,
how about that? Yeah, I was on reserve all the other 3 years. That's a true story. And guess what? I scored 2 points out of my whole career.
The 2%.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So really what I'm saying is that so I had to work extremely hard for all the talents and gifts that I got. And I didn't have time, you know, all the talent, you know, I had friends and teammates and stuff that was just elite. You You know what I'm saying? They even have to practice. They didn't even have to go lift weights and nothing. You know what I'm saying? They got out there and they performed to a high level. You know, I couldn't skip the weight room. I had to go get my weights. You know, and I had to. So I just knew that I had to do. Even before I say that, there was a guy on my team. You know, you always got somebody that was hating on you, but I thank God for that dude, because I'm glad he said what he said today, because when he said what he said, it changed my life. He said we was actually looking at video on a past race that we ran, and we was actually running at the University of Illinois, and I'm talking about this dude on my team. He was the fastest on my team, and he smoked us. I mean, he made us look like we was running in damn slow motion, and so, you know, me and my brother was always talking to how we was gonna, you know, eventually qualify for the national championship meet. And he was looking at that race. He was like, man, you don't even need to be talking about that, bro. Like, you're not even a factor. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never gonna make it. You ain't never gonna get no scholarship. You know what I'm saying? You always gonna be average. So at that particular moment, I got pissed off, because I was like, man, who are you to tell me that I'm gonna always be average? You know, so I got so pissed off by somebody telling me that I was not gonna be a factor. And I said, you know what, from this day forward, nobody would ever have that shit come out their mouth. You know, so what I did from that day forward, I did just a little bit extra, and a little bit more than everybody else. So we had a workout, and we had to do 3 laps around the track. I did 1 extra. I did 4. You know, in the weight room, I did maybe one more set of reps on squatting, benching, you know, and all of that than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I started getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning just to go to the track to work on my start. You know, so I started to get a high level of intimacy in what I was doing, and just doing that little bit more, I found myself getting a full scholarship, becoming an All-American, getting a full ride to go to TSU. And when I got to TSU, you know, I was ranked number 1 overall in the conference.
Nice.
You know, so
huge transformation.
Just telling that story is like, look, man, like, you gotta fight to get elite, you know, but it starts with something inside of you that you just really want to change. So they say you want to win, get pissed off enough for losing. Get pissed off about losing so much and so bad that you start changing things. You know, so that's all I did. So looking at the 2%ers brand, it's like that kind of transformed just from that chapter in my life. It transformed all the way to now in business. It's that, you know, you want to be a 2%er, you gotta move different, and you gotta move at a different frequency than the other 98%. So you might have to get up earlier. You know what I'm saying? You might have to cut out some things that everybody else do. You know what I'm saying? You might not be able to go to every party. You know what I'm saying? You might have to stay in and study when everybody out kicking it. You know what I'm saying? But you got to do things to separate yourself from the pack. And that's the 2% mindset. Yeah.
It's powerful, man. That's powerful. That's a great story. It's my first time hearing it too. So, I mean, that kind of hit me. Definitely just, you know, I can definitely relate to that. Just being pissed off enough. It's like, you know, Eric Thomas actually has a track called I Got Tired of Losing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you heard that?
Yeah. That's powerful, bro.
Yeah, same mentality.
If y'all don't listen to E.T., y'all need to.
Yeah, for real, E.T. the hip-hop feature, that's major factor.
Yeah, man.
Definitely. So, I mean, sacrifice isn't easy. Just having that discipline to remain committed to decision to cut something out, especially something that you've become comfortable with or used to. But just like you're saying, you have to make those necessary adjustments if you're going to make the 2%, if you're going to get, you know, to the upper echelon and really enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Absolutely.
So for you, you know, what was something that was real tough for you to sacrifice, and how did you remain committed despite, you know, I know there's obvious temptations to, you know, well, maybe I won't sacrifice it this day, or, you know what I'm saying, to kind of cut those corners, those temptations to you know, not go as hard just because there's times when nobody's watching, you know.
That's true, man. I would say, like, when we talk about sacrifice, I think, you know, a lot of for me, like, I had to sacrifice time, and just I'm gonna get a little personal with y'all just for a second. You know, as we go through life, I mean, we have we have things that we love to do. We have people we love to be with. You know what I'm saying? And hell, I had to sacrifice being in love. For a while, because it's like love don't pay the bills. You know what I'm saying? So I had to sacrifice being in a relationship with somebody I really cared about. Just to focus on things, to get my brand and get my business going and get myself to a certain point, and that's not to say that it's always got to be like that. But I think there's a grind time to where your schedule gonna kind of suck. Like you're gonna feel like you always working. You're gonna feel like you ain't got time to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? But you only got to do that for a short period of time until you get the ball rolling. So it's kind of like the analogy about the snowball effect. You rolling it up the hill, or you pushing the boulder up the hill, and you got to apply pressure to that rock to get it up to the top. But once it gets to the incline, it's gonna move on its own. So you got to put all your effort and energy to what you're doing, and you got to be focused on that. You know what I'm saying? Uninterruptedly. And you got to schedule. I read this book called what was it? It was by Rory Vaden. It was called.
I've seen some of his YouTube videos.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, not that book. I've seen his videos though. I want to say it's got time in the title though.
Yeah. Let me look at it. It's called. I gotta get y'all the title of the book. This was the second book that changed my life. Let's see, Roy Vaden. Let's see, his book is called Take the Stairs. Yeah, Take the Stairs. And in that book, he talked about your schedule. It was a chapter on chapter 7 was on scheduling. And he said, what you want to do is you want to put the things in your schedule that are not going to move. Like, let's say most people on Sunday go to church, and then, you might go to the gym on this day, or you might go to Bible study on this day, and, you might do this on this day. But all of the time that's freed up, that's around those immovable events, you start scheduling around that. And then once you do that, you'll find that you'll probably get a lot of things done in one day that people don't do. People take all week to do. So it's all about learning how to, condense time frames, and really work your time to where you can get the most out of your day versus getting through your day. And getting through your day, that's kind of like how it's an employee mindset. So, I had to learn how to shift my thinking to, okay, well, how does an entrepreneur think? Because I am an employee and I'm trying to I'm trying to be an entrepreneur. How does an entrepreneur think? Well, all the stuff that your employer provides to you, you got to create on your own. So it's just about, you understanding, how to set that up. And so, and that's kind of like, one of the biggest things I had to sacrifice was just like, just stuff like that, love and, doing the extracurricular stuff that I like to do, that, I usually do on the weekends, like going out, and drinking water, at the club,
Yeah.
No, I said water.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, man. So yeah, like those are my biggest things. Yeah.
And I hope y'all are listening to, like, when I interview people, it's definitely one of the things that's, even when I'm not interviewing people, just when I talk to people, one of the things that's very important is the way they talk, the words that they choose to use, because that'll tell you a lot about what's going on inside their mind. Mm-hmm. And representing the 2%ers brand, he said, earlier that it's really just about that mindset shift. And so, phrases like condensing the time frame, that's something that, that links into when he was in high school. I was already a year behind. I had to condense that time frame. So it's like it's the same principle. Or when he said, get through the day versus make the most of my day. So it's like it's small shifts in wording, but like the idea that's conveyed by those mindsets is totally different.
Yeah.
Like making the most of my day, that suggests to me that you value your day, you have gratitude, you know your worth, you know that you can be productive and you intend to be, you know, that intention's there versus getting through the day. This is a chore, this is something I don't want to do.
Yeah.
So it's like those are two completely different energies that end with completely different results.
Yeah.
And so it's just like a math problem. You know, you do one thing wrong and the whole equation just come out messed up. That's the exact same thing that, like, if you're listening to his words and the things that he's saying, like it's identical. It lines up. So that's super huge. So I'm appreciative of you for like just explaining things the way you did. You know what I'm saying? Because like it gives more clarity into you as a person as well as your brand.
Man, appreciate it, brother. I mean, that's it. I'll appreciate it, man. For real. Yeah. Cause you know we just you know. We ain't just doing this for the camera. I know we on camera, you know what I'm saying? But man, like I'm just passionate about, you know, being an example. You know, not only do I want to make it for myself, I'm trying to make it for my people. I'm trying to make it for my family, you know what I'm saying? I got a niece that's 4 years old, and she looks up to her dad was my twin brother, but she also looking at me too because I'm another father figure to her. So
y'all look the same.
Yeah, we do. You know what I'm saying? So she really got two daddies. So y'all caught that. But I mean, it's just. I mean, there's so many ways. You know, nothing is holding us back. You know, it just starts with your belief level. You know, and your hunger. And I was just hungry, man. I got tired of just working dead end jobs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've been through a struggle with that. I mean, because, you know, you got to find yourself and you got to find your purpose. And it takes you going through stuff you don't want to do to find it, you know.
Man.
And
trial and error.
Yeah, man. So we all have a purpose. You know, we all have a reason why we living. And it's up to us to find out what that is. You know, I found mine. What's yours? You know? And that's a question that you want to look in the mirror and ask yourself. You know, you may not know the answer right then, but it'll come to you eventually, you know. So,
that's powerful. So earlier, you did say that Take the Stairs by Roy Vaden was your second book.
Yeah.
Now, before this, we shot an IG Live on his Instagram, so if you're not plugged into it, definitely go get plugged in. What's your Instagram handle?
My Instagram is @_ the twinner _ like the winner with a T on it because I'm a twin. So it's _ TheTwinner _ You know, follow me on IG. That's
some fire content, definitely.
Yeah.
But before that, we were kind of talking about one of his favorite books. And so he just gave you his favorite book, which his second favorite book was Take the Stairs by Roy Vaden. Definitely go check that out. I'm going to go look it up after I get done using my phone to record this. But your first favorite book was Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is a classic. I feel like everybody should have to read that book a couple times. But I mean, what was it that really gleamed you, that you gleaned from that book, and how did you even come into possession of the book?
Man,
kind of give me that story.
I got you, bro. I mean, I love telling this story, man, because you know, when I came across this book, you know, actually, it's been 10 years ago. I read the book 10 years ago, back when I was in college. You know, it was the book that I read maybe two or 3 weeks after I graduated from undergrad. You know, because you know when you graduate from undergrad, you know, the culture is to go to grad school and work on your next degree. And so, you know, all of my friends was like, you know, taking the GRE, taking the MCAT, you know what I'm saying, and they was taking these tests to get in these grad programs. And it's like that's what everybody was doing. And it's like, you know, I got into a grad program right after I graduated. But for some reason, while I was going through it, I just didn't feel like this was my purpose. I just feel like I'm doing what everybody else doing. I don't really feel like this ain't me. You know, I got to be doing something else. It's something else for me, and I just felt that energy. So, you know, me and my brother was talking one day, and we was like, bro, like, this cannot be the only way to be successful. This cannot be. You can't tell me that my success or failure depends on me passing this exam. Like, no. It's got to be another way.
Straight up. Straight up. Straight up. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So we just, you know, my cousin Jarrell has sent me he was telling me about this book, for a while, and he was like, "Bro, you should read this book. You should read this book. It's called Rich Dad Poor Dad." And so he had a copy of it. He has like screenshotted a picture of it, you know what I'm saying, and then he sent it to me, and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's what's up, bro. I'm gonna read it. Eventually I'm gonna get around to it." So I was putting it off and put it off and put it off like we do normally. When people suggest something, we're like, "Okay, I got you. I'm gonna do it." But one day, it was a summer, we ain't had nothing to do, we was broke, broke after college students, money is spent, and we was like, you know what, we ain't got no gas in the car, let's read, So one day, me and my brother decided to read the book together. He had a copy and I had a copy, and we started reading this book, and it was just like, so if y'all don't know what Rich Dad Poor Dad is about, it's a book written by author Robert Kiyosaki. And he's one of the most powerful network marketing people in the world. But it's actually his story. And his story is he grew up with two different dads. I don't know if it was his stepdad or not or whatever, but he had two different father figures. And one of his father figures was poor and one was rich. And so he grew up with two different perspectives on life. He was going back and forth to his dad's. And his poor dad was teaching him, the normal system that we always taught was to go to school, get good grades, graduate, and go find a job somewhere, But his rich dad was teaching him how to run and own a business, because that's what he was doing, teaching him how to make money. So literally, one day, and this is a funny story, I think he started a comic book business, and but I think before that, he said, you know what, I want to go make money. So he kind of interpreted what it meant to make money. This is kind of funny. He misinterpreted it. So he literally melted some copper down with some old toothpaste tubes, whatever, and he was literally making money. Like he was making coins out of this copper material. And so his rich dad came down and was like, "Man, what you doing, man?" He's like, I'm making money." And he's like, "Ha ha, no, man, that's what's up, man, but that's not what I mean, but that's funny. But no, that's not what I mean by making money, but good idea, you on the right track, but not quite." Yeah, so I thought that was pretty funny because he was literally like, making his own coins and dollar bills. Like he was just, like he was the Federal Reserve in his own right, but he was on the right track. His mind was in the stratosphere, but we had to like, get his antennas right. So basically, he, like I was saying, he started selling comic books for a price, and then he was getting profit from that. And then so his rich dad was teaching him the concept of business behind that, on how to run it properly, how to do all the financials and everything to keep up with it. And so he would do that, and then he would go back to home with his poor dad, and it'd be back to normal. He'd be saying like, "Hey son, did you how are your grades? Did you pass your test? Did you get an A in this class? Did you get an A in that class?" He's like, "No, well, you got to make sure you get A's so you can, you can graduate and you can get a good job." So it's like his whole life he was being taught two different perspectives on life, on how to move. So really, that was a blessing in disguise for him, because he was being taught the normal way, but he was also being taught, the elite way. And so this inspired him to start his own business. Because he started learning lessons early on, and he learned actually how to be a successful business person. And so I know like one of the biggest concepts I got out that book was how to make your money. I'm gonna talk finances for a split second. How to make your money work for you instead of you working for money. And there's people. He talked about passive income, and that was so interesting to me because it's like how in the hell can you set yourself up to make income that's not tied to time. That really opened my eyes up. I said, you mean to tell me that there's people out here making money like that and they don't have to go work a 9 to 5 every day? I said, well, how come they ain't teaching this stuff in the school that I just went through for 4 years? Why didn't I get to sign up for this class? You know, but it's crazy. Then, hey, they do that for a reason, because this is information that they don't really want us to know. So, but it's like if I didn't find the hunger inside of me to go figure this out, I probably would have known that. So, just a long story short, if y'all want to go read that book, I ain't gonna tell you the whole story, you know what I'm saying, because y'all need to go read it for yourself. Yeah. I'm just telling you what I got out of it. But the thing is, after I read that book, my mind was totally transformed, like just like that. And so now I was in the mind frame to look for business opportunities, because I'm like, well, I'm him. I just graduated from college. I'm that dude that was taught by his poor dad. So how can I go find me a rich dad? And you know, in my situation, that could, you know, that could be a metaphor. You know, you could find somebody you could go find your mentor to be that rich, wealthy dad figure for you. In other words, you can go learn how to become wealthy by somebody that's already there. You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of what I did. I started looking for people I could connect with that was on that level. I was looking for a mentor, because I knew I couldn't talk to my father about it, because he didn't know how to, because my dad makes he made 6 figures at a point in his life. He did. But you know, he didn't quite own it. You know, he worked for a company. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting off into a tangent, but I wanted to go talk to someone, you know, and no disrespect to my pops. I love my pops. You know what I'm saying? He taught me how to be the man I am today. But I knew, like, if I wanted to make 7 figures, I need to go talk to somebody that's making 7 figures, because they can walk me through step by step on what I need to do first to take a step in that direction. So I think what I'm really trying to say is you have to educate and feed your mind. You have to, like, replace your mental files with new ones, so you can be aware of certain things, and you can know what to look for. And so, like, had I not read that book, I wouldn't have known what to look for. And so, because I was now in a mind frame and aware of that there actually were business opportunities out there that exist, I started stumbling across them. You know, I started coming across the right people, you know, and, you know, I got mentored, and I found actually, you know, the business that, you know, I wanted to be in, you know. And so, which ultimately, you know, led me to create my own brand, you know. And so, there's humble beginnings, but just to connect the dots, that awareness got me where I am and where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? So that's really all I want to tell y'all. You know what I'm saying? You know, just, you know, it came from a humble beginning. You know, and I still ain't where I want to be, but it's all about getting on that path. You know.
That's powerful. I definitely think that. I'm glad you shared that. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't even want to touch it. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I think we should just leave it on that. You know.
Yeah.
It's very important to cultivate awareness. You can do that a number of ways. Through other people. You can learn through osmosis. You can read books. You have your own experience. The most important thing to do is to get out there and do what you got to do to raise your level of awareness.
Exactly. Absolutely, man. You think we gave it enough?
I don't know what you think.
Man, yeah, they had enough.
Yeah.
You know, we ain't want to talk y'all to death, but you know.
No, definitely. And I mean, like, those are a couple of things that you can do to raise your level of awareness. If you guys are watching this, you probably already following me. Make sure you follow Ryan on all his social media channels, because I mean, this is a great person to plug into. This is a guy that knows what he's talking about. So I mean, give him your social media handles.
Yeah, man, appreciate that, JP. Like I said, y'all follow me on Instagram @ the Twitter _. You can follow me on Facebook, Ryan Austin Fraction. Also, I do have a business. I have a 2%ers business page. You know, you can go and search the 2%ers on Facebook, and you'll find our Facebook page. Yeah, definitely. You'll see a lot of our pieces on there. You follow me on IGTV. You know, I got tons of videos up there. I did not mention this earlier, but I also have a YouTube channel. You go on YouTube, you search the 2 Percenters. We got a YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? I got about 11 or 12 videos on there, and continue to grow. You know, as we move forward. But that's how y'all can reach me. If you guys have any questions, I mean, just DM me. That's all you got to do. It's real simple. You know?
Appreciate you, man.
No problem, brother.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. That's that.